Hey, how's it going? I'm going to do a real quick arm workout. Happy Monday. I hope you're doing well and having a good day. I don't know what I'm going to talk about today during this workout. I don't know. I'll have to just wait and see what happens. See if I think of something. I made a video late last night of looking at some of my books. I always like doing that. I guess so. When there's things that I like to do, sometimes I like to savor them. So like I could, if I wanted to, just make nothing but book videos. But it's like it's better to like savor it and do it like every few months or something like that, because I had a good time doing it last night. It brought back a lot of memories. I found these. I gotta tighten these up. I found these Dead Sea Scroll books that were given to me by an old friend of mine that I used to work with. This guy Mike, and he was just a real interesting character. I mentioned a little bit about it in the video last night about Mike. So I worked with this guy for a number of years. He was a physical therapist at this hospital that I worked at. So occasionally our paths would cross. And at the beginning, I think first it had to do with music. Like he was a guitar player and I was a singer, and I would sing a little bit at work sometimes. And that's how the whole thing started. Is that, and also he had a guitar. He had a couple guitars in his department. He had other instruments in his department, and so yeah, that's how it kind of started. And we started hanging out, talking, at work, and then after that, we talked about spirituality, right? I found out that he was pretty sure, I want to say a Seventh-day Adventist. Is that a thing? Is that real? I mean, is that what, could he be that? I think so. And then last night, I remember I said, so last night I mentioned that he lived in this really nice house, which he did, and I'll describe it to you. But I missed, afterwards, and I thought more about it, after the video. His wife wasn't an attorney, she was an anesthesiologist. And she worked at a different place than us, but they were very well off. So like I remember, so we're hanging out at work and stuff, talking about religion and music, listening to music, just chilling. And he's like, man, you got to come over and we'll jam. And I'm all right. He's all right, follow me, man. So I follow him home after work. And I'm like, geez, this is a really nice neighborhood. And I mean, I know this neighborhood. So this is it was in a really nice part of Sacramento, an old nice part of Sacramento, where the homes were built in like 30s, 40s. A little later, because the house that he lived in, was like this single level, classic ranch style, maybe 1950s or mid 1950s, with a flat angled roof, open beam ceilings, and a huge entryway and a music room. Anyway, I was like, and they didn't have any kids. It's just him and his wife, who's this anesthesiologist, and this really large, beautiful home with a highly manicured, expansive lawn. So I pull up to this guy, I follow him, and I pull up, and I park, and it's like he's got this expansive grass that's manicured, that's all the way up to the house is deeply set in this huge lot. And it's beautiful. I was just kind of like scritch. I was thinking, what the heck does he live with his parents? It's like this 35-year-old guy that lives at home with his parents. The heck is this? Because he's a physical therapist at work. he makes what I make, or maybe even a little less, or something like that. I mean, he's just a regular guy. So I was like, holy crap, this is a really nice place. But then that's when he explains to me, he tells me where, he gives me a tour of the house and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see now. Your wife's a doctor. Yeah, that was it. But he had a whole freaking musical room set up. But anyway, we jammed and we hung out for a while. And multiple times. And he gave me those books about the Dead Sea Scrolls. And I can't even remember. He gave me another book too. Another religious book, a Christian book. And I can't remember what the significance of the Dead Sea Scroll was in our initial conversation. Because that was part of that whole thing. He was telling me about the Dead Sea Scrolls. And he was telling me that he has books. He'll give me a book. And it wasn't like these were, he was like a real church guy. He had free books of all different types and everything there at the compound, at the mansion. Okay. Let's do some hammer curls. Anyway, and then he gives me these books on the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I don't read them. And here we are 30 years or 25 years later, and I still haven't read them, but at least I have them, and I'm remembering my friend Mike, who was a very cool dude. Nice guy. He never asked me to come to church or anything. I just, for some reason, that stuck in my head was Seventh-day Adventist. I think that's what he was. He wasn't trying to convert me or anything like that. We were just sharing knowledge because I was always really still interested in spirituality and world religions and stuff like that. That's what we were talking about. What a place that was. The time I'm describing to you, what time this was in the current, Earth timeline, this was right around the OJ trials. So when is that? 96 or 94? 94, 93. I don't remember the year. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about right around the time of the OJ trials. I'm still feeling the effects of that fast food that I ate. What has it been? 2 nights ago? Yeah, I can really feel it. This is the second day. Today was the second morning that I woke up from it, and I definitely feel it. Maybe I'm just not recouping enough between these exercises, but I can feel the difference. I had an idea concerning this topic. I was thinking about the Carpenter story, and I was thinking about how I can get around this. I love those Jack in the Box tacos. Probably there's lots of people that love those Jack in the Box tacos. But if you eat them, you swallow them, if you consume the tacos and the burger and the Coke, you're going to get sick. So, instead of Uber Eats, it's Chuber Eats, right? You do this Karen style, all right, like a superstar. What you do is you take a bite of the taco, you chew it, and then you spit it into the empty cup that the Coke came in, because you're just going to dump the Coke down the sink. And then you spit it in the empty cup, and once it gets a little bit full of chewed up, unconsumed taco that you didn't eat, you just tasted, then you excuse yourself to the bathroom, and then you dump it in the toilet and you flush it, and you're not even purging, right? So it's like in memory of Karen, a true contralto. What a voice, you guys. So what do you think? If she hadn't been anorexic, would she have created the amazing, beautiful art that she created? If she wasn't miserable and unhappy, and what she looked miserable most of the time. I think I've watched every single tape of her or video. I couldn't have watched every one. But when I was a kid, I watched every time they were on TV, listened to them all the time. And now with YouTube, I've seen lots of tapes of her and Richard performing on all the different variety shows and all kinds of different stuff. He just looks like he's compensating for her or enabling her most of the time. He's really like, hang on to my elbow, hold on to the end of my sleeve. And she just looked absolutely miserable to me. Now that misery that's in her, that comes out of her, maybe you don't see it. Maybe you're a douchebag and an idiot. But look in her eyes every time she sings. She's positively sad and positively beautiful. Perfectly sad. Very sorrowful young woman. So if she hadn't had that, she wouldn't have been the artist that she was. She wouldn't have been able to make the music the same way that she made it. But it's really sad when you see them, for me, when I see them when they're doing these things, different performances, like on Christmas shows or like that one, there's one where they're performing at Walter Reed Hospital during the Vietnam War in front of a bunch of wounded Vietnam War veterans, and she's playing this like Burt Bacharach medley. She's smiling, entertaining these guys, but she's really sad, you guys. So, Chuber Eats. Let's do it the way that Karen would have done it. Let's just chew the fast food and then spit it out. And then what's in your mouth, you have to treat that like it's Copenhagen or Red Man. You can't even swallow the taco juice. That actually that's another way to do it. You could take a little bite of taco and just like a pinch between your cheek and gum. Okay, like beech nut. That's what you do with the fast food. Take a bite of the burger, put it back in your pocket, and then spit the burger juice out as it starts to get close to your gullet. Ting, like that, and you're just spitting burger juice all day. That would work too. That was Dom DeLuise did it that way. It wasn't spitting burger juice. Okay, one more. I don't know what that was. It was some sort of homophobic Dom DeLuise joke. Just because when I think of Dom DeLuise, sometimes I think of Dom DeLuise and Merv Griffin, like naked except for togas and wearing like little olive wreaths, and they're hanging out like in Monte Rio at Bohemian Grove every summer together, and you know they're eating grapes. People are fanning them. That's what I picture. Now you have it in your head too. Oh. Walter Cronkite is there as well. Okay, we're gonna do these in close, like this, bingo, bango, bongo. These still need to be tightened up. So I switched the weights on this bar yesterday, and it keeps getting loose. Hear it spinning? I can make it spin. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a couple days to get rid of that because I'm not myself today. I can feel it. Really glad I'm doing these lighter weights. Just a burger and a couple tacos puts me on injured reserve. All right. There used to be this lady, that place where Mike and I worked, and she worked in medical records, and she was a married woman, and I knew her for a long time. Anyway, she dude, this lady, man. Anyway, she's really nice and really good job performance there at medical records. But she used to touch me all the time, and I was getting like sexually harassed at work like 30 years ago, fully. Like this would never fly these days. But I'd be at work and sitting at the desk, sitting at my desk doing stuff. She would sneak in up behind me and she'd start doing that thing to my neck and everything and putting her hands over my eyes. It's uncomfortable. So rumors started. And even Mike is like, what the heck is going on? Asking me about it. I'm like, nothing, man. Nothing. He's like, wow, she likes you, buddy. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Oh, one time she had a big Christmas party at her house. Here's enough. So one time, this is after the Christmas party. She has a big Christmas party at her house, and everyone is there. Like it's like 30 people, and we all meet her husband. He's real cool. They have a real nice house and everything. So then, shortly after that, she asks me if I want all this wood, which I thought was such a weird thing, She's like, yeah, we cut down a couple of these trees, and my husband cut this wood up. If you want to bring your truck over and you can load up all this wood, and it can be yours. So I said, okay, sure. I mean, I'll take the free wood. And it was a setup, like from Penthouse Letters column or something. From the Penthouse Letters. Get to her house and there's nobody there. Her kids, her husband are gone. And the whole time I'm loading up the wood, she's bringing me a beer, hitting on me and stuff. And so I just got out of there, you guys. I had to get out. I was married. Even though I cheated on my wife later on, after this point, and the marriage dissolved. At this point, in my marriage, I was faithful. Okay. And it was this person at work. It was just, I had already had that experience where I was messing around with girls at work, and it's not a good. The outcome is not positive. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, that was that. This is going to be the last set. Look at this, just all wobbling all over the place. This job that I had at this place was really labor intensive first thing in the morning. And then once I got all my work done and I could chill. So sometimes I could be done for the most part by like 11 o'clock or 11:30. And then really from 11:30 or 11 o'clock until 2:30 or 3, that's when I'm reading my books and that's when I'm chilling. So I used to read the paper every day. This is so long ago, before before the internet. But yeah, I used to read the Sacramento Bee every day, and I used to sit. This is like, I don't even do this anymore. But I was young, man. I was like 35 or something, and I had my own bathroom. I had a private bathroom there. Nobody would bother me for any reason, unless they needed me for an emergency. But I had a beeper, and so I would sit in the toilet. And I would spend like 15 minutes a day in there reading the paper and reading the comics and doing the crossword. I was really, I would hit the crossword. I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. I hated work so much. I hated that place. I hated just about everything. I didn't hate it. So the Army was the best job I ever had. So then after that, everything paled in comparison. But I did have some good jobs working with some cool people. In particular, like in construction, in the arts, believe it, even in San Francisco, working in the professional dance and acting community. I did meet some cool people, and it was a lot of fun. But working in medicine in the civilian sector, it sucked, man. It paid good, but it sucked. All right, you guys, have a fantastic day or evening. Thanks for watching.